Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Catalina and I'm the person behind By Katarina Designs, and in this video we have another crochet tutorial. Finally I had time to film a tutorial for the increase or how to increase the open shell stitch pattern that I use for the fern top. I had a short tutorial for the stitch with a crochet chart, and someone asked to how we increase that pattern. So I have here my sample, my swatch. I was working hard to get those increases, and I did the increases on the sides, and also if you want to go in the middle of the row. Here is getting a bump like this increase. I made two, one next to each other, so maybe that's why it's like this. It needs to be more separated because I have here one and then here one right away, so it needs to be apart, more apart. Here on the middle I try to increase differently that I did here, and I hope you'll find this video useful. So let's get started and see how we will increase this stitch pattern if we need to go wider. Okay, I already worked a few rows for this stitch pattern. This stitch pattern requires a multiple of 8 plus 1 stitches. And when we have this type of stitch pattern, which is a combination of stitches, and we want to increase on the sides, because this is with what we will start, our main focus is how to create another pattern repeat on those edges. So this is what we will focus on, and this is how I was thinking about the increases. So now I am at the round when I need to start my row with one double crochet, which will be at the beginning of the row as chain 3, chain 1 and 1 double crochet. If we're looking at the pattern, this is kind of half of the shell. So our shell is with 3 double crochets and 1 chain in between, and what we have at the beginning and at the end of the row is half of the shell, and or we count as it is half of the shell. So what we are doing now is if you want to add only 1 stitch from this to this row, my next stitch after this double crochet will be a chain, because I have double crochet, chain, double crochet on my edge, and now I will need to have a chain and then another double crochet from my pattern. So I cannot add 1 chain to start with, so I will need 1 stitch as a double crochet or half double crochet as my edge. So what I will be doing now when beginning the row, I will add that chain stitch plus another stitch to be able to begin with, which will end up having 1 shell complete. So now I will start with 4 stitches. The first 3 will be my double crochet, and then the 4th will be a separating chain, which is actually my increase stitch, and then double crochet into the same stitch. Then I will chain 1 and work another double crochet into the same stitch. And after beginning the row like this, we added 2 stitches over here, so 1 chain and 1 double crochet, and now I will continue with the stitch pattern that I have until I will get to the last stitch. So now I will simply go and work the row as it is. And we will see right away how to finish this row, because what is important to know is that we need to have a symmetry between the beginning of the row and the end of the row. So we will need to finish this row with the same pattern. So now into the last stitch, I will work 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. And now I have at the beginning and at the end of the row a full shell, not only half. And let's see what we will be what we need to do next. So now what I know about my next row pattern is that I will need to work into the middle double crochet. I will have to work a single crochet. But what about what I'm doing before? If I'm looking at the pattern, before the single crochet, I have into the pattern repeat, I have 2 chains. So I cannot make those 2 chains to begin with. So I will chain 4 and then start working my stitch pattern. By chaining 4, I will have those 2 chain separating chains, and I can go with that selfish stitch that I will have at the beginning. So this, I started at first thinking that it will be the first chain 3 as a double crochet, but you'll see a bit later on that it'll look better if we will do a half double crochet. So if we will work our stitch into the second chain. Anyways, what we need to do is to chain 4 at the beginning of the row, and then we will continue with our stitch pattern. So now what I have, I'm looking also at this edge to kind of go further into a right to be straight direction, even if it's a bit and it doesn't need to be straight. Okay, so now I'm continuing with the stitch pattern, and let's see at the end of the row, because we need to keep the same pattern for the end of the row as well. Okay, so at the end of the row, I will work the single crochet into the second double crochet of my shell. And then I will either chain 1 and work 1 double crochet into the third stitch, or you can try to chain 2 and work a half double crochet into the third stitch. Whatever feels like is more it's better, you can play with those stitches. I work a double crochet, but I think it'll look better if it'll be only chain 2 and a half double crochet at the end. So now I will chain 3 again. This will be like my selfish stitch, and I will chain 1 more. So chain 4, and then I will go with my shell stitch into the single crochet. I know that is looking that I did an increase on this row, because I'm starting also with chain 4, but because of that shell stitch, I actually have more stitches than on my previous row. So this is all about the stitch pattern, because it's not only about the number of stitches, but it's also about the shape and the chains in between. So now I will finish the row in the same manner, so chain 1 and going into the third stitch and make 1 double crochet. And here, if you're looking at how this double crochet is laying on the third chain, it will look better if it will be into the second chain. So that's why I said that it is better to have on the previous row to have half double crochet and 2 separating chains, because this edge will look better. Okay, so now we are here. So if we're looking on the corresponding row below that started with the shell stitch, I have now more stitches. I have 1 double crochet and 1 chain. Now if I want to add another stitch, I can chain 5 and start with a single crochet into the second double crochet. But chaining 5 and go right with a single crochet will give a big gap at the beginning of the row. Let me show it to you how this will look like. So I don't like it. It can be done like this. It's not like it's a huge problem, but I do think that it will be too the hole will be too big. So now we will try again, and we will start with a chain 4 and a double crochet. So the 5th chain that I did it won't be a chain, but I will do it into a stitch, and in this way I will avoid having that gap at the beginning of the row. So let's chain 4. And then I will go with a double crochet into the same stitch. And now we have the same number of stitches, so there are 5 stitches, but at least we don't have that big gap that is at the beginning of the row. So, but now what I did, not to add too many stitches, I didn't chain 2 after making this 5 stitches, this chain 4 and 1 double crochet. I went with a single crochet right away. This is the difference in between the row below, which starts with the same stitch. We have that 2 stitches separating chain. So now after the single crochet at the end of the row, I will go right away into the 3rd chain, and I will work a double crochet, a chain 1 and another double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, so this is how this increased pattern is looking so far. And if I'm looking now at my next row that I need to work, is I will have to start with a single crochet. So let's just look at it. And then into the single crochet over there, I will need to start with a shell. So I think it's perfect now to start the row as usual. So we can single crochet, chain 2, and working the shell stitch pattern. And if you worked a few rows before starting this increase, you know, realizing that actually we completed a stitch pattern. So we added in total 8 stitches. So now we have half of the motif at the beginning and half of the end, which is right how we started our row, our sample, our gauge, our swatch. So now let's just continue with the stitch pattern as it is to the end of the row. And I will finish the row with chain 2, and into the 3rd chain we will go with a single crochet. Okay, and now I am right at the point where I started to increase before. As you remember, the row needed to start with chain 4 and 1 double crochet into the same stitch, and we did that full shell to add the increase. So now we can start increasing again as we did before, or we can start working a few rows without making any increases and start whenever we feel like we need to add more stitches according with the project that we want to make. So either you're starting to increase right now again by working that full shell stitch instead of half, and or you can work a few more rows without increasing. And now let's see how to increase into the middle of the row. So I will start the increases into that middle single crochet that I have over there. I said that I tried 2 ways to increase in the middle. One was into the single crochet and the other was into the shell stitch, but I do believe that this one into the single crochet, it is better. So our focus now is to transform the shell stitch from 1 into 2 shell stitches, and we need to do that progressively, so we don't want to make right away 2 shell stitches because it won't look nice and it will get bulky. It will have those waves, our project. So now we will start our row as usual, and when we are getting to that single crochet stitch, I will show you how we will make the increase there. Okay, so I am at this single crochet, and normally I will do this 3 double crochet shell stitch, and now we will do 5. This will be our first step of our increase. So I have 4 and now 5. I chose to work 5 double crochet because this is still looking okay, so you don't feel like there are too many stitches. So we will start with that. After finishing the row, we will turn, work the stitches as they are until we get to that big shell that we just made, and we will see right away the next step of our increase. Okay, here I will chain 2, and the pattern normally says to work into the second double crochet a single crochet, and this is what I will be doing here. So I'm working into the second double crochet a single crochet, and then I'm looking at the 4th double crochet. There it needs to be a single crochet as well, but I need to do something with the middle double crochet because otherwise it will be bigger gap. So I chained 1 and I will work into that middle, the 3rd double crochet a single crochet. And now because that 4th double crochet is too close, we will simply chain 1 and work a single crochet into the 4th double crochet of that big shell, and then we will chain 2 and continue to work into the established stitch pattern to the end of the row. So now when we worked that big shell, it was looking that our project is higher into that section of the pattern. Now with this 3 single crochet over here, we kind of make it even, and we need to trust the process that it will look great in the end. So now I continue turn my row, and I got to this 3 single crochet over here. Into the first one I will work the 3 double crochet shell, and let's see what we need to do now. So into the third single crochet, for sure I will make a shell, and now into the second single crochet, if I will make a pattern repeat, I will need to chain 2 and make into that single crochet 1 single crochet, and this will give me a complete pattern. Basically I can consider that I finished with the increase. But if I'm looking at that single crochet, it looks to me that it's a bit too close. So if I'm working the 2 single crochet, the 2 chain stitches, 1 single crochet, 2 chain stitches, and then into the third single crochet of my increase, I'm doing the shell, which is what I am doing now. Let's see how it's looking. So here it looks like there are too many stitches, and I don't necessarily like it like that. But again, it might work even so. But I do prefer to go, instead of 2 chain separating chain stitches, to go only with 1. This is just to make this increase progressively. We don't need to add too many stitches over here. You can try to work a double crochet as well into that middle single crochet, and try to see how it will be like that. But I don't think it will look pretty there. It needs to be a single crochet. So the final pattern that I will choose is to chain 1, go with a single crochet into that second single crochet of the increase, then chain 1 and work the second shell stitch of the increase. So now the pattern kind of looks as it should be. Only that I have only 1 separating row chain. Now let's finish this row and then go back and get to this increase over here, and now I will continue with the pattern as it is. So into the second double crochet I will make a single crochet, then chain 2, and into that single crochet I will work a shell, and then chain 2 and work another single crochet into the second double crochet. And now the pattern is complete. We have now 2 shells instead of 1, and I will recommend to work a couple more rows without making any increase, and then to start increasing again if this is what you'll need to do. I will finish this row and 1 more and show it to you how it's looking. Okay, so after finishing 1 row, this is how the pattern is looking. And as I said, I will work 1 more row like this one, and then you can either start increasing again into that middle single crochet, or you can repeat a few more rows without making any increase and increase later on. When you are working and want to increase into the middle of the row, you can have several increases along your round depending on how many stitches do you have. So yeah, this is how we are increasing this stitch pattern into the middle of the row. So I hope this video tutorial was useful, and if you have any ideas, because it was the first time that I tried to increase this pattern, so I'm sure that if I will do it all over again or again, maybe some other ideas will get into my mind. So if you have some suggestions, please leave them in the comments, and I will try to try and film your suggestion and see if I understood correctly, and maybe in this way together we are getting to a better idea on how to increase the stitch pattern. So thank you so much for watching this video, and see you next time. Bye.